Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Women's Business Development Center's webinar on building your brand through Twitter. My name is Bethany Hartley and I'll be giving the presentation today. I just wanted to go through what we're going to be learning a little bit more about today. So if you just take a look at your screen, you'll see that today we're going to cover first the very basic how to register a Twitter account, and then once you've registered, how to find the right people to connect with and actually do that connecting. And then we're going to become familiar with third-party applications because they find it really helpful for brands and businesses to use third-party applications such as HootSuite and Sprout Social to maintain their profiles on Twitter and other social media platforms. And then we're going to learn how to deliver your message effectively, and part of that will be going through a little more about those third-party applications. So first we're going to start out with a little webinar housekeeping I like to do. The first thing being, if you cannot hear me, please go ahead and raise your hand so we can see and send you a pin to make sure that you can hear us loud and clear. And then the second being, questions and answers will take place at the end of the presentation. So if you want to ask questions, we would love for you to do that, and you are welcome to raise your hand at the end of the presentation. And I'll click on you and make sure if you want to do an audio question that you're in a quiet room because it is hard to hear if you have a lot of background noise. And every slide has a slide number at the bottom right-hand corner. So if there's a specific slide you have a question about, please reference that and we'll go back there and go through that. So that's just a few things I wanted to cover before we get started. So starting out, I just want to ask a poll question, that being, are you currently using Twitter for your business? So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen and go ahead and give your answer. And we'll take a few seconds because I'm just curious to know how many of you have already ventured out there in the Twitter world. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and then I'll share with you the results. As you can see, about 67% of you are not on Twitter yet, so I'm glad we're starting at the very basic of how do you go about registering your account. And so as we continue on, I'm going to go ahead and hide this. And so first things first, let's go through a little terminology. I find people need to understand what we're going to be talking about. It definitely will help you down the road here. So first thing, we're going to look at tweets, retweets, direct messages, feeds, and hashtags. So what is a tweet? A tweet is a 140-character message. No more than 140 characters to get your message across. And that includes any links you're going to be putting in and anything along those lines. A retweet is someone, you'll see it as RT in Twitter because you only have 140 characters. So you want to make sure you are using those wisely. That is when someone just shares your message that you put across. It's a way to look at how engaged they are with your brand. A direct message is the same, similar. It's 140 characters, no more. And you put it in your Twitter field when you go to share something, and you just put the letters DM in front of it. You can only do that to people who follow you. So keep that in mind, but also keep in mind that those direct messages might not always be private. So don't put anything in a direct message. It goes the same for emailing and Facebook messaging. All that could come out eventually. So just be careful as a brand and as a business that you don't put anything in those messages that you wouldn't want everybody to see. And then a feed is the stream of tweets, and I'll show you exactly where it is as we continue on, that you see on your homepage if you're using Twitter directly. That shows you all of your information. Same as the Facebook news feed. It's just a stream of information constantly running. And then a hashtag. A hashtag is a way to denote a topic of conversation. For example, the American Idol, Obama. Hashtags only extend to the one word directly next to it. So if you were to split up that American Idol into 2 words, it would only hashtag American. So you might get results if you search. It's a way of searching for different things. So you might get results different if you hashtag American as opposed to if you hashtag American Idol. I'm sure you will, actually. So that's just something people use. We use it in live tweeting for events, which I'll give you a tool for that if you're interested in doing that, and different things. You see it sometimes on your TV screen at the bottom of the screen when you're watching a show. They sometimes hashtag things so you can comment about it and they can see the interaction. So it's something to keep in mind. Again, if you're going to do a live event or, for example, a webinar like this, we could have a hashtag at the bottom so people could tweet about it and it would get more brand awareness. So as we get started here, we're going to how do you set up your Twitter account for business. This is something that, this is why you're here, to learn how to effectively do this. So we're going to go through first things first. You go to twitter.com and this is what you see. This is their main page, and you'll see here that if you're new to Twitter, then you have to sign up. So you put your full name, your email, and your password, and then you sign up for Twitter. Once you've done that, you will see this next screen or something similar. And I just picked Bethany Task because I was testing it out for this webinar. And then you pick an email that you check frequently, and because this is where your notifications will go. So I put my email, and then I made up a password, and it tells me it could be more secure. That's fine. I'm just using this for this example. So make sure it's something you'll remember. And if you're going to be using Twitter directly as opposed to third-party applications, again, I'll show you later, you want to make this a password you're willing to share. So don't associate this with anything personal, just for security purposes. So if your business is going to be using Twitter directly, keep that in mind. Then your username. I just made this one up, but for your brand, even if you're not sure you're going to get started just now, you should go in and claim your username as soon as possible because someone may take it. We got really lucky at WBDC that WBDC was an available username, so that is our username. So you may have to alter your username a little bit to different things, but try to make them brand relevant, and I'll show you an example of that shortly here. So this is where you set it up. The options keep me signed in on this computer and tailored Twitter based on my recent website visits. That's completely personal. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. So as we move along, I'll show you the next screen you'll see is this. So I'm going to point out a few key things to you. The first being, oh, I'm now following someone. So starting up here in the top left, you see this egg. That is my picture, my icon picture. So when you go to do this for your brand, as I'll give you examples later, but you want to make sure that this is on brand, an icon that resembles your brand, or if you want to use your own picture, that's up to you. So the size of this, something to keep in mind, is 128 by 128 pixels. And this smaller one here that you're looking at is actually 48 by 48, but you want to make it the bigger one because that's what this is. And that's what people will see. And it'll shrink it to fit in that little icon. So when you go to create this, make sure it's 128 by 128 pixels. And you can make that in Paint, or you can crop it from your logo you already have, or use Photoshop. So anything like that will work for you. So these three people, I have no idea who they are, but this is what you see when you sign in as a first-time user. These are recommendations that they recommend for me. They might recommend them for everyone. I'm not certain how they pick out those people, but you don't have to follow those people, and you don't have to, and you're not following them right now. So then something else to point out up here to the left, underneath your username, so we go down here to trends. This is where the hashtags come in mind. These are hashtags and subjects that are extremely happening right now. People are talking about these things. And you notice here this one says promoted, so someone paid to have that hashtag put there. And you can use paid ads, but it is my belief when using social media that you should try to be as organic as possible, and you'll find success, I'm sure. We have never used paid advertisements, and we seem to be doing okay. As long as your content is good and relevant, people will follow you. So these are where all the different subjects that are going on right now. You can click on any of these. These are all hyperlinks, and you'll see a stream of information that talks about that. So then also up here at the top, just these little icons just to go through real quick. You're at home right now. At Connect is when you're being mentioned, and I'll show those in a different stream so you can see what that is exactly. And then the hashtag Discover, so you can search for different hashtags. These aren't the only hashtags out there right now. Like if, for example, you have a live event and you want to show people different tweets that were about that event, you could look for that. Or look for a topic if you want to answer questions for your clients. That's how you can search that out, and we'll go into more search later. And then Me is just showing your profile. So something else I want to show you as we move forward are the different types of profiles you can set up for your businesses. So let's take a look first at option 1, which is a direct business account. So I'm using the WBDC's account, and you'll notice it's completely branded to WBDC. Our icon is the WBDC icon, and it's completely business oriented. All of our pictures are sent on behalf of our organization, and our tweets are completely on topic. So, and then we also customize our background with all of our WBDC branding. So this is an option you can use if you want to do direct branding and build your business that way. These are completely up to you and which ones you want to use. I'm just going to give you the different options, and you choose what you think would work best for you. So then option 2 is a personal account, but not really a personal account. So I went with Ashton Kutcher here. He's pretty popular on Twitter. He doesn't really have a business per se, but he is his own business. So he would be something similar to a service-based business. He gives information about a lot of different stuff, and he's branded himself, but it's still his personal in the sense that he does post personal things. If you're, for instance, a service-based, or you a consultant, or you want to give information like that, or you have a business but you have a network based on your personal relationships, it's not a bad idea to have a personal account, even with your picture. And again, I'll show you another example of that. But just keep in mind, it might be personal, but also keep it relevant to your business. You would brand it as a person as opposed to having your branding all over it. Whereas a hybrid account, just like Brian Tippins here, he's someone I've actually met in person. He's the HP, Director of Procurement, Compliance, and Social Responsibility. This is a hybrid account. You can tell that he works for HP, and he makes it clear that he works for HP. He has HP branding, but he also, and he posts on topic in terms of what's relevant to his network. And he's leveraged his network of personal relationships to build the brand for the business. So this is a little of both. You would never see him posting anything that's extremely personal, such as something he did, you know, like he took his dog for a walk or something along those lines. He would post like, I just went to an event on behalf of HP. So it's definitely keeps it relevant for the HP brand, but also for himself as well. So now we're going to look a little at the setup of what you're looking at. So your profile information needs to include a few things: keywords in your description, an eye-catching picture, and website information. These 2 things are extremely important when it comes to setting up your profile, and you can do this in the setup profile widget, which you will see at the top of the screen. I think I have another screenshot that I can show that to you on. Actually, I'll just go back to Brian's and I'll show you where it is. If you look over here on beside the search box, this little thing right here is a setup, and if you click on the arrow and it drops down, that's where you can edit your profile and set up what we're about to talk about in terms of where you put the keywords in and where you upload your picture and also all that sort of thing. So then we're going to move forward here. So someone that does a nice job of that, her name is Amy Porterfield, and she is, as you can see, she's a social media strategist who specializes in Facebook. She's a co-author of Facebook Marketing All-in-One for Dummies. So right here, you can see that she has keywords: social media strategist, Facebook. She has Facebook twice. Marketing in there, it's relevant. And her business is herself. So this is a personal profile, but it's personal for her business. So this works for her. It has her location, which all of your profiles will have, and a website to go to. So she has also created a unique landing page with this amyporterfield.com/webinar. So people that come from her Twitter will go, if they click on that, they go to a specific web page that she set up within her website. So this is a great way to drive traffic from your profile to your website. And she provides relevant information, and her picture is eye-catching in the fact that she's kind of looking over to the side, so you kind of want to look where she's looking, and it's an appealing picture, and it's her. So it's giving a face to the business. Even if there are other people working and doing information for her, she is still the face of the business. And then we have Orbit Media, which is a local Chicago web design and development place here. And as you can see, this is their business page. So here we see that they, again, use keywords that are web design and development, and their icon, their picture is their icon, they're part of their logo, and it gives a personable feel when they say, we're friendly, creative people, and we love our clients. So they post, there's multiple people that post on this account, but they're all under @Orbiteers, and they have their name, and then they have their username. So their username is not Orbit Media. When you go to tweet with them, it would be @Orbiteers. So it's something catchy. Maybe Orbit Media wasn't available, so they just went with what they could find or what worked best for them, and it's on brand still. And they are a very sociable brand, so it's helpful that they are giving a personality to their business. So those are things to keep in mind when you go to set that up, to really use that little space as much as possible. And where it says web design and development here in Chicago, that you can only have 160 characters or less. Twitter is all about the micro-blogging. That's what it is. So keep it short and simple. So then I want to look at header images. This is a new thing from Twitter. And this is, as you can see, Ryan Seacrest's header image. The square around his face, that is actually his picture, his icon that shows up beside everything. And then he managed to put a header image around that based on that. That header image size, if you want to create a custom one, is 260 pixels tall by 520 pixels wide. So if you want to go in and create one, and I'll show you a couple different ones so you can get ideas. It doesn't need to be like this, where it's a picture within a picture. You don't have to do that. But this is relevant to him at this point because they're all on American Idol, I believe. So this is something eye-catching, and you see this on your profile page. And he put a little quote on his. We put our tagline. It's definitely on brand with what he's doing. And then another one to look at is Coca-Cola. They've been doing a lot of nostalgia all over the place. On their Facebook page, their timeline is very nostalgic, and here you can see it's very nostalgic with the throwback bottle being their icon, and then they have, you know, these pictures that look a little dated and faded, maybe used Instagram to make them look that way. And it's something on brand for them. It's not selling anything, it's just showing you people enjoying their product, which is a great thing to have. So creating a picture collage or an image for that it's really helpful, and it's another way for your clients to relate to you. Okay, so now we're going to look at finding and connecting on Twitter. So a few sites to search on, and again, you'll get this presentation, so you can write this down, but if you complete the survey, you'll get this email to you. So clout.com, twello.com, and commune.it, which I'll show you a screenshot of. These are great ways to search for people, and when it comes to figuring out how to search, you simply type in the search bar what you're looking for. So say you're looking, you can look by industry, by keywords, by problems, requests. So in any of those, there's just a search bar. You can type in, I've typed in, and I'll show you in our screenshot, about Chicago entrepreneurs, or you know, specific topics that we could help with. And then you start a conversation that way. You say, oh, what do you need? I see you need help with this, or here's a great resource. You just start engaging people that way. So you start the searching, and then what do you do with those searches? Well, we'll get to that. But I want to show you a screenshot of commune.it. So this is our screenshot of commune.it. And what it is we connected our Twitter account, and based on what we have in our profile and who we follow and who follows us, it gives tips and advice. So it tells us, you know, along this right or left-hand column, who are influencers, supporters, engaged members. It runs a report on all of our information. And then it also enables us to search through different ways. I typed in keywords that I want to search for, being women's business, WBDC.org, when that shows up, and it gives you all this information. And you just kind of pull this through, and the best way to start collaborating it all together is to just make a simple Excel file where you have people you think you should follow and start compiling them. And I would strongly suggest before you start tweeting, you start doing this list first and start watching Twitter. Start looking at it and seeing the engagement and seeing what people actually do. You don't want to go out there and just start doing your own thing and then realize afterwards this isn't actually how I'm supposed to do it. Researching through these different channels before you actually start tweeting is really helpful, and it makes you look informed, and it makes your message more concise when you go to actually start tweeting. So I would suggest start making lists in Excel of these people you find here. This is a free, I'm using the free account, and I'm going to find these people, and I'm going to see why I should follow them or keep track of them, and the best way to do that is through third-party applications. So let's go ahead and start looking at those. So first, what is a third-party application? Well, you could read. A third-party application is a product developed apart from Twitter.com or Twitter's official mobile apps. I actually took this definition right off of Twitter. The reason they have third-party applications is to control more than just it gives you enhanced benefits of Twitter, and so it's a better way, in my opinion, to use Twitter and your other platforms as well. So as we continue through, you can see what these applications you can do with them is amazing, and as we go on, I'll show you screenshots of them. You can schedule posts in advance and multiples at one time, so it's a lot easier to brainstorm in one session a bunch of different tweets than having to come up with something new every day. And I'll give you strategies on how to do that and how to get content every time. It's difficult, but you need to come up with things to post that is relevant. So you can also manage pages on different platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, all through one third-party application. So you can share multiple messages on multiple platforms out of one location. And then you can monitor engagement. You can pull reports on how you're doing in terms of retweets, how you're doing in terms of mentions, and how you're doing in terms of your message getting across. And then you can work as teams with colleagues. As I mentioned, if you're going to go directly to Twitter, you have to give everybody the same password. This way, with these third-party applications like HootSuite, you could have multiple team members using one platform, so they would each have their own sign-in, and you can monitor how or when they sign in and what they're saying and that sort of thing. So it's really helpful that way. So then we're going to just take a look at HootSuite real quick. This is the one that WBDC uses, and this is what we see when we start up our HootSuite profile. And this is an actual screenshot of our back end. And I just want to point out a few things. It might look a little overwhelming at first, but it's really not once you get used to it. So first, let's look at the three columns. There's the home feed, the mentions, and the direct message. And I really want to stress that these are important to have, the multiple columns, because it helps you stay current on relevant information. So going back to the home feed, what this is the people we follow. The WBDC follows these people on Twitter. And so we can watch their messages coming across. Mentions are whenever people do @WBDC. So whenever we see @WBDC, they're going to show up here because they are trying to tell us something, or they've mentioned us in regards to something. So we get notifications about that, and it's a great way to keep track of your brand. And then direct messages are those DMs. So those are when people want to send it privately to us, information and requests. So we get those as well. We don't send a lot of those, but we do get them and respond to them when we do get them. So then also I want you to look up here where it says compose message. So this is exactly like on Twitter. This is where you send out your message. You compose your message, 140 characters or less. If you want to include a picture, you see this attachment icon right here. You can include a picture. If you want to post date this, you can you see the calendar icon. So you can schedule this to go later. And the benefits of scheduling, which we'll go into more in a few minutes, are that if you're going out of town or something, it's really helpful to pre-schedule things so you don't completely go dead air, which you never want to do. And then this icon is to add a location of where you're at, what's happening. And then this is to lock the tweet. Really, as a business, you should not be locking your tweets. You want people to see this stuff. And then over here, all these different icons are different profiles that we manage from this one place. So this is a really great time helper for sure. And it makes it so we don't have to go to all these different places to post our message. So this one is our Twitter. This is a personal Facebook page. This is our fan page. You can tell by the little flag icon, that's our Facebook fan page. This is our Google Plus page, and these are our LinkedIn profiles. And then our WordPress blog. We do not actually blog directly from here. Typically we go to WordPress and then we share the blog with other people through HootSuite and through Twitter. So the one we use most commonly here is Twitter, and you can see that along the side there are a bunch of different icons here, and we're at the home one right now, but this one is also the analytics and reports, and you can have a free account through HootSuite. It can be free. We actually are using the paid one here, and one of the big differences is that you can bulk upload messages, which again we'll talk about a little bit more later. So then another option that I just want to give you guys that we actually don't use that much is Sprout Social. I just kind of ran this through to give you a preview of it. It's generally speaking going to be about the same thing. There might be more functionality, but I have yet to see it. You're going to have the scheduler up top here. Discovery is a search tool. And your feed, since we only put our Twitter feed here, that's what this is, so you can see everything that's going on. So this is just another tool to use, and it's very similar to HootSuite, like I said, to monitor your profiles. You can add multiple profiles. You can write tweets from here. You can pre-schedule tweets and everything. So it's just another option to look into if it's right for your business. So those are what third-party applications are. So we're going to go a little bit more into that as we go through how to effectively deliver your message. So first, the way to do it best, schedule in bulk, pre-schedule. So again, in HootSuite, you can, even on the free account, you can schedule in advance. You can compose a message and set it to go whenever you want. And you can monitor those by going to the scheduler icon along the left-hand side and see what is scheduled. A great way to make sure that you're always staying up and on people's pages is to do the scheduling in bulk. And then on top of scheduling in bulk, you want to interact regularly with followers. For example, we tweeted out, did you try our latest small biz tool? And then that bit.ly is a shortened link, which HootSuite does have a link shortener because, again, you only have 140 characters. So you can use that with hashtags, so people will find this message that are looking for things about Chicago and about small business. Shortening things, for instance, instead of saying small business tool, saying small biz tool is a shortened way, and it helps keep the numbers down. So then we have someone respond that said, yes, I love it, you know, it's great. And then immediately we want to respond with, so glad to hear that. And then we retweeted our original message so more people would see that. And we would also include the client's information or their handle, username as well. So even though we post in bulk and scheduled messages, we also check it on a regular basis when we can. So basically every day we check it to make sure that if there's any conversations that have started, we respond to them in a timely fashion, because you don't want to leave someone hanging when you want to be known as the brand that has answers. And it's a great way to keep customers engaged and interactive with you and to get your message out. So then a great way to use your search, the people you found on those other platforms, and also you can find them through HootSuite as well by keywords and that sort of thing, is add the list to your dashboard. So again, you're viewing our dashboard that has the 3 streams, and I'll just show you real quick. Right here is our stream that says search. So we started searching Chicago Entrepreneur. So anytime anyone mentions Chicago Entrepreneur, it's going to come up in this list. And this is a great way you can search out maybe your competitors, searching out what they're doing, searching out events in the area, searching out potential clients by searching people that maybe are talking about your product or your service, say you deliver speeches on motivation, you could put a search field in for offering motivational services. So say something like having a bad day, you can search for that. And you know, that could be difficult in being very broad, but if you can narrow it down over time, it will really help you. And you know, this search list gives us a look at what people are looking for in terms of Chicago entrepreneur and news about it. So if we want, you know, if maybe we're running out of things to talk about, we want to share some of these pieces as well. And this will start a conversation, because I could say to Wendy Hendrick that, oh, how is that going, you know, sort of thing. So she might not even know who we are, but now I know who she is. So you want to make sure, though, if you're going to do this, to keep it relevant. You don't want to just tweet a sales pitch to someone. Start a conversation. That's the thing, is this is a very two-way conversation thing. This is not a monologue. This is not a commercial on TV. It's a dialogue. So make sure you are aware of that and you're ready to commit to keeping the conversation going. And that's really, really important when it comes to Twitter. Okay, so now we're going to look at what to post. So you want to post things that, for your client or potential clients, solve a problem. You can search, you know, in Google things that are relevant to your product or service, like how to find a loan. I think that's what we just posted this morning, or how to find a grant. And then, you know, a different website, SBA, pops up, or something pops up. If you don't have content on it, share someone else's content. That's okay. It's really okay to do that, as long as it's relevant to your brand and service. If you have a blog, you want to share your blog post on this platform. That's how you get content for Twitter and your website. If you updated something on your website, also post that. If you have a press release, you want to post that as well. Share those things. And news. If there's news happening in your community or locally or relevant to your industry, post it. And ask people questions. What did you think about that? You want to engage them. You know, don't just make it, here you go. You know, engage people. And add value to your product or service. Maybe it's something people didn't know about your product or service, or something along those lines. A really nice post that I found just recently was Mary Smith. I have no idea who she is, but I really liked this post in the sense that it was eye-catching. It said caring consistency in the new relationship marketing. So she put what it was, or what it's about first, and then she put the link to go to it. So you want to have that structure, and you want to have all your hyperlinks towards the end of your message, because people will click away before they even see your message if you don't. So this is a really nice post, and it says another person, it tags another person, Jay Bear, and it says fun interview. And it's just eye-catching, and it makes you curious, and it made other people curious because 6 people retweeted it. So right there is a good tweet to have, where it's concise, but it also provides a link to go somewhere and take an action, and it also provides someone else, and he will probably end up sharing it as well because he was mentioned in it. So if you can mention other people or businesses or places or something, that is always nice too, because it starts a conversation automatically. So now we're going to look at timing. Timing is everything. You know, in our Facebook one last week, we discussed timing. I think timing is a little more important with Facebook. For here, it's a little different. But the peak retweet times, which is the engagement for social or for Twitter, is between 3 and 6 p.m. every day during the week. And then the lowest retweet times are between 6 and 10 a.m. So when people, this is a relationship between browsing and engaging. So people are browsing between 6 and 10 a.m. and people are engaged between 3 and 6 p.m. Because if you think 6 to 10, people are usually commuting and don't have time to retweet or respond. So just keep that in mind, and sending messages often throughout the day. So you have to think that people are following a lot of people. People are following typically more than 50 people on average. So, you know, think about that when you send a message out. If you have one new blog post, post 3 tweets about it throughout the day with 3 different messages going to the same link. Because someone in the morning might not see it, and they might not see it at lunch. They might only see it in the evening. So that is okay. And just make sure that you mix it up a little bit and put other tweets in there as well, but just don't think that you're being redundant, because people just don't see it, and it's a true fact. So it's okay to double tweet, triple tweet, whereas on Facebook you don't want to keep posting the same message over and over and over again. So that's just something to think about when you go to post things. And make sure every post you have has a link to go somewhere. If it's to go view a picture, if it's to go to your website, if it's to buy a product, something, it needs to have a link. What is the point of having a tweet that does not go anywhere? It's not engaging whatsoever. So make sure you have a link involved. Okay, so now here are some tools that you can take with you. Something new that's up and coming is pay with a tweet. So if you go to paywithatweet.com, it explains it a little bit more, but say you have a white paper or a PDF or something you want people to download, but you don't want them to have to pay for it, that's fine. That's really nice of you. But this way, they have to pay with the tweet. You customize what the tweet says, and then it sends it out automatically once they click pay with a tweet. So this is a really great way to engage people and to get more brand recognition out there. If you're going to have an event, live tweeting, a tool we've used is Twubs, which is twitterhubs.com. It allows you to show the stream of your tweets with the hashtag you associate with that event. For example, our conference this year, our hashtag was EWC26. So whenever anyone posted about that, and we announced that as well at the breakfast, whenever anyone posted about that, then it showed up on this live feed. It just showed how engaged people were with what was happening. So if you're having a special event, be sure to do that. And I'm sure you've seen it out and about as well, or at different events where they want you to live tweet about the event. More resources, again, I mentioned these last week, but if you weren't there, that's fine. But socialmediaexaminer.com gives you really good ideas on where to find content. If you can't, how to really spice things up a little bit further. This was more of an overview, and that can take you to the next level. And then Mashable.com, it has really good information about what's going on in social media, what the latest trends are in social media. And then Google Alerts, I highly recommend if you haven't used them already. Google Alerts allows you to set up alerts. You just go to Google and Google Alerts, and you type in what you want to look for and things relevant to your brand or your company, even your competitor's name and your name, and set up where you get emails every time they're mentioned. See what they're doing, see what you're doing, see if you should be on those websites or those whatever that they are on, and also see where you could add content, where you could possibly be needed. So I highly recommend using Google Alerts and using all the tools that I've mentioned here to really take your business up a notch. But be sure that you know that you have to commit some time to this. But that's where these third-party applications come in handy, because you can just spend a couple hours one day as opposed to a couple hours every day coming up with information. So that is pretty much it. We're going to go into the questions session. And again, I want to mention that we will send out a survey at the end of this. And once you complete the survey, you'll be given a link to the presentation, and we will also make it available as a video presentation as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions. If you want to write in your questions, that's completely fine. If you want to raise your hand, that is fine as well. So once you raise your hand, I can unmute you, and we'll go from there. I do see one question already. Can I use the same email for my personal and business account? Cheryl, that is fine. The only thing to keep in mind is that if you are going to have more than one person regulating your Twitter account, then I would recommend having a separate Twitter email address. But make sure that you check it still. Okay, so I see Patricia. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. So please make sure you're in a quiet room. Patricia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, I can hear you perfectly.
Great. Okay. Yeah, my question, because I've never noticed that the distinction between a personal and a business account, and
right.
particularly that the image that you're talking about that had the larger pixel size.
Mm-hmm.
Where would that's in the setup portion, you said?
Yes. So if you go to your profile setup, it's you can edit your profile picture the picture that shows up, the little one that's beside your picture, is going to be the same as your big icon. Those are always going to be the same. They'll just downsize it for you. But in terms of the header image, you can also change that along the left-hand column. Once you're in the setup and the your profile setup, you'll see something that says edit header image or something along those lines, because that just actually started, I think, last month.
Oh,
so,
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's where you would edit that in there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, thank you. Okay, so let's see, Susan's question, is it okay to stay signed on with both laptop and mobile? Yeah, that's fine. I actually have a lot going on my phone, which might be why it crashes, but I have a HootSuite app. There is a HootSuite app for mobile. I have that logged into my WBDC, so when I'm at events on behalf of the organization, I do tweet for the organization. I also have the Twitter app for my personal, and that is when I don't use my personal as a personal for work. I use it as a personal for personal. So yeah, you can stay logged in wherever you want. Just make sure if you're on a public, I'm sorry, on a public computer to sign out, because you don't want anybody getting into your account at all. And I highly recommend, just like with your email, to kind of update your password frequently, because just like every other site, there is possibility of being hacked. So that is fine. On my personal Twitter account, all of a sudden I started seeing someone tweeting from my account. Does that happen often? How do I stop that? So Myra, I would check what applications you have running on behalf of Twitter, because there are a lot of websites and different things that ask you to sign in using your Twitter. And I don't know if you noticed, and this is the same with Facebook, is if you do that, you are allowing them access to certain parts of your profiles and certain parts of your personal information. So one of those things sometimes can be posting on your behalf. So make sure, I'm trying to remember, I think if you go into your profile, you'll see it again along your left-hand side, applications, and take a look at those. For me, I know when I checked, there were like 50 applications that I had linked to this, and applications can simply be websites that want you to log in using your Twitter. That can be considered an application. So look at those and also change your password, and that should not be happening. For sure, that should not be happening. So definitely take care of that. Okay, do you recommend getting the business Twitter account set up to secure the brand name even though I'm not ready to start tweeting it? Yes, I recommend you at least grab that username. You don't have to start tweeting, you don't have to start following, you don't have to start anything, but at least go in and secure that username, because if you think about it, I mean, our Twitter, oh, and I don't actually, oh, well, I do. At the top there, the follow at WBDC. So if you went to twitter.com/WBDC, that's our Twitter page. So if you really want to try and get something very on brand, so you definitely go in and do that first thing first. Okay, I'll wait another minute or so here for any other questions. And if you come up with a question later, please feel free to email me at bhartley@wbdc.org. And next week we're doing Building Your Brand Through LinkedIn. And then we will be sending a survey out, like I said, and if you complete it, you get all this information and the recording as well available to you, and it takes about less than 10 minutes. Okay, the question asked is, do you do all your tweeting through your HootSuite app? Pretty much yes. Not pretty much, yes, we do. Because it's easiest when it comes to consistency, and once you get familiar with HootSuite, it's so much easier to use than pretty much anything else. And you know, we keep up to date on our Twitter profile page, so it's still on brand. And another source I wanted to mention was growsocial.com. That's GROSOCIAL.com, and they will actually make customized backgrounds for you. So I would recommend looking at that as well if you don't know how to make a background to reflect your brand. But HootSuite is definitely very user-friendly, I would say. Any other questions you guys have? Don't be shy. Okay, so yeah, if we go back to the discussing about the pay with a tweet, this is something very new, and I know you can, if you go to paywithatweet.com, you can copy a code and put it on your website. So if there's information that you want to share, but you want people to tweet about it, what you do is on paywithatweet.com, you type in what you want their tweet to say, and then you add whatever document you want them to get from it, and then it'll automatically generate what you need. So you don't need to know how to code or anything like that. It's very user-friendly, and you can use that on your website, you can use that on your blog, anything like that. And in terms of your website and blog as well, I do want to mention, which I did not mention previously, is that you definitely want on your website and your blog to integrate Twitter. So if you are developing your site yourself or if someone else is doing it for you, you should be able to go in and add the Twitter icon, just like you should have the Facebook icon if you have Facebook, to your website. So you can let people know that that's another way they can connect with you. So I would definitely look into that. So what is the purpose? Yes, the links will be included, sorry. The links will be included for the PowerPoint. Those will go with that. And I'll send you an email, and if I think of more resources in between, I'm definitely willing to send those to you, so I will. The purpose of the Pay with a Tweet is just to give people something for free, because people love to have that added value and the content marketing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this term, but content marketing is huge right now, and content marketing is just that. It's creating content to boost your marketing. It's really hard at this point to continue doing typical marketing, you know, one-way channels, whereas Twitter and social media is all two-way. It's all a dialogue. So the purpose of something like Pay with a Tweet, you would be able to give something, but not necessarily for free. It's just like social media. It's just it's using your time or your energy more than your money. So doing that, they would tweet out from their account, while either you can associate a hashtag with what they're tweeting, or they could tweet to your profile. It's just a way to share the information. That tweet could be something like, I just received great information from WBDC. So then people, it would also associate a link with it if you wanted it to. You can make it really do whatever you want. It's just a way to have more organic looking marketing. So it's a little more word of mouth is, you know, really what's being used there. One of the questions is, I have a blog. How do I link a new blog posting in a tweet? So if you're using HootSuite, you simply go in and you would type something catchy about your blog post, include keywords in that blog or in that Twitter or that tweet, and then just copy the URL of the blog post and paste it into the shortener, which you would see pop up there, and then you post and it would show up. If you're on Twitter, you just copy paste the link and it'll show up in there. So you just copy that URL and paste it in, and that's how you connect the two. There's also on certain blogs you can add the Twitter API, which is the program that it would pull your tweets onto your blog. So people could see the live stream of your tweets while they're reading your blog if they want. And then that would be another way for people to connect with you on Twitter. And it would, you know, keep someone engaged more on more platforms. So I know on WordPress it's really easy to find. On the back end you would see it. Any more questions? Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off. And like I said, if you come up with more questions later, please feel free to email me, and then we'll send you the link for the survey. And I hope I see you guys next week. And thank you very much for attending.